School. Just as Mead Park gave us an unforgettable legacy and unforgettable moments with legendary players and coaches like Dean Reddy, Neil Pennington, Keith McBain, Mark 250 Rierick, Paul Dev, Eric Gallo, and of course, Kurt Casale. Capo Field will now become the stage where new memories are made and the next shake. This is truly a classic field located right on the campus of New Canaan High School and within the confines of our town treasure, Waveney Park. From the brick backstop, dugouts, double tents, and state-of-the-art playing surface, we could not be more pleased with how every facet of the facility turned out. And we hope you are as proud as we are. The new Capo
increasing our turf footprint by nearly 30%, and will be a lasting and cherished town asset.
This project is a great example of public and private partnership and is a testament to the hard work and dedication from invested stakeholders. It's important that we recognize the contributions that make this project a reality, so now we would like to gather the following individuals to home plate for an official ribbon cutting ceremony. First, from New Canaan Town Government, all of whom have been huge supporters of this project, it is my honor to introduce First Selectman Deanna Carlson. Selectman Steve Carl. Some members of town government are not able to come, but I'm still going to announce them anyway. Selectman Amy Murphy Carroll. Chairman of our town council, Mike Morrow. Chairman of the Board of Finance, Todd Lavieri. Chairman of the Parks and Recreation Commission, George Bennington. Director of Parks and Rec, John Howe. Park Superintendent, Ryan Restivo. And of course, Director of Public Works, Tiger Man. Now, I'm going to embarrass him, but I have to point out that Tiger was responsible for the management of the overall construction process. He has been on site daily for the last 6 months, solving issues, working through bottlenecks, and ultimately bringing this project to a successful conclusion on time and on budget. A special Tiger Man. And Tiger, I have to say, we sincerely appreciate your commitment and service to the town of New Canaan. We are so fortunate to have you. Thank you for everything. Next, I would like to invite the following people from New Canaan High School, New Canaan Public Schools. As we have seen time and time again, I think Dunning Field is a perfect example. First-rate facilities help build first-rate programs. And we know the school and the athletic department will utilize this facility to its full potential, and we sincerely appreciate the support from these key leaders within our school system. I'm proud to introduce Superintendent Dr. Ryan Lexi. New Canaan High School Principal Bill Egan. And of course our athletic director, Jay Egan. We are extremely grateful to our key design and construction partners who worked incredibly hard and efficiently, particularly through a terrible winter, to get our boys on the field today. Please welcome landscape architect Mike Segan. General Contractor Carl Rosa from H.I. Stone. And Scott Kostrich from Atlantic Sports Group, responsible for this beautiful turf. Next, we would like to thank our private partners that had the conviction to drive this project from concept to completion. We would like to thank, firstly, the board of directors of the New Canaan Athletic Foundation and New Canaan Baseball. Representing the New Canaan Athletic Foundation, President Mike Benevento. Now, the renovation of Capo Field represents Mike's 8th successful project between the FCIAC and the town of New Canaan. Mike's unwavering commitment to New Canaan athletics is unparalleled. We are extremely fortunate to have Mike supporting the enhancement of our athletic infrastructure. Through Mike's leadership, NCF provides a seamless and structured platform to make transformational projects such as this a reality. Thank you, Mike. And representing New Canaan Baseball, President Ian McAllister. Every project needs a champion. This field has been Ian's passion since an initial breakfast with Mike 2 years ago. Ian has been responsible for the overall project vision, concept, and facility design, and private fundraising. Ian's commitment and fortitude are second to none, and we thank you, Ian, for your tireless work and leadership on this monumental project. Let's give one big hand for Mike and Ian. And lastly, and most importantly, we're forever grateful to all of our donors who contributed to this endeavor. Without each and every one of you, this would not be possible. It is the generosity of our donors that allows New Canaan to deliver facilities of the highest quality. Big round of applause for all of our donors. Thank you. And I must say, for those who are interested and have yet to contribute, there remains an opportunity to leave your mark and your legacy on this generational project. We encourage you to make a donation today. Thank you. Now, if I could ask First Selectman Deanna Carlson to cut the ribbon and officially open Capo Field for play. Karzuski. Batting 8th, playing shortstop, number 3, Matthew Walton. Batting 9th, playing center field, number 25, Teddy Smosky. And pitching for the Blue Wave, number 5, Tyler Easterbrook. And now, the starting lineup for your New Canaan Rams and their head coach, Anthony Bloss. Batting first and playing shortstop, number 4, Tristan McAllister. Batting second, playing third base, number 11, Thomas Schulman. Batting third, playing first base, number 17, Adrian Delicata. Batting cleanup, playing left field, number 21, Alex Energino. Batting fifth and catching, number 8, Maddox Hoffman. Batting 6, playing center field, number 9, Benny Heagle. The designated hitter, number 23, Grant Hickey. Batting 9th, playing right field, number 3, Petey Zwick. And pitching for New Canaan, number 27, Zach Jocelyn.
We gotta go. Everybody out, guys, come on.
Ladies and gentlemen, we ask that you please rise for the playing of our national anthem. Performing the anthem today under the direction of Barry Zhao is the New Canaan High School Band. Thank you. Players, we'd like to ask you to remain on the base.
The towns New Canaan and Darien synonymous with each other here in Fairfield County. Today, a game of baseball being played at a new place for the first time in just under 100 years here at the renovated Capo Field. A big project here finally completed for a new home for the New Canaan Rams. A special day, an open ceremony that just happened here. Myself, John Friedrich, joined alongside Tucker Stevens, Tim Bellingham. We're going to bring you all the action between the two rivals who are both fighting for positioning in the FCIAC standings, an extremely tight playoff race, but more importantly, what a field we have behind us, guys.
Yeah, Johnny, it's great to get out on the new field today, Capo Field. It's great, beautiful day. It's been rainy all week, 60 degrees, and it's just awesome to finally see the field done. Long wait is over.
A little bit of breaking the weather today. Been raining, like Tucker mentioned, the whole entire weekend. Rain is a complete bummer for baseball, regardless of the turf field or not. We're just glad that both these teams can come out here today, Darien and New Canaan, and another round at this historic rivalry here in Fairfield County.
Yeah, you mentioned the last time these two teams played was in that state playoffs, New Canaan, Darien. After New Canaan had lost to Darien in the regular season, they came out on top 3-2 in a dogfight. Both of these teams really a difference in kind of their approaches at the beginning of the season because of the talent that they have. We'll get into the talent later. But again, just marveling at this field and talking about kind of some of the new additions, some of the cool things that this field has to offer. The bullpen to our left, which you cannot see, batting cages on the far side. You've got completely brand new dugouts, new turf, completely level surface, the entire field turf, not just the outfield or not just the infield. There is no sand. There's also a different backstop, which we'll talk about later, between these two catchers, which is going to provide a different, more important kind of positioning to playing that catcher position. And then also, probably the biggest fact is the fact that it's on or just next to the campus of New Canaan High School. One of the biggest issues with Mead Park, which played host to baseball for over 90 years, was the fact that it was 10 minutes away, which isn't that big of a deal, but it does affect the team's practices. The players now, New Canaan can come right over here and practice. We'll turn behind us though as the action's about to get started. New Canaan getting ready, but the new field here very special, and on the bump for New Canaan once he goes out there will be Zach Jocelyn on the mound, the junior captain for the Rams. There's three junior captains, one senior captain, and then on the other side for the Blue Wave is Easterbrook. But Tucker, what can you tell me about Zach Jocelyn this season?
Yeah, Zach Jocelyn, 1.02 ERA, which is very impressive out of the junior. He likes to stick with his fastball, slider, curveball, and rarely throws his changeup. And he's sitting around 84, 85 miles an hour on his fastest, but today we should see a lot around 80, 83 miles an hour, which should be really impressive out of Jocelyn.
And Tim, the leadoff hitter for the Blue Wave here today, Aiden Elders, a hockey star during the winter, moving towards baseball. Not a transition you see quite often, but he's been raking recently for the Blue Wave.
Yeah, complete change of pace between being on the Blue Wave hockey team to Blue Wave baseball team. But he's a great player, Elders. He's going to come out swinging. Blue Wave's going to come out trying to put up some runs, some of the first few runs on this brand new Capo field, but we'll see how he fares today.
Yeah, you talk about it, kind of differences in approaches. Darien coming in trying to look for really the upset. The crowd here is going to be rowdy. There's a lot of fans moving around, although the outside of the field is not completely finished yet, right? It's still rough around the edges. The field part, they are allowing a sold-out crowd in between the dugouts. You see they brought in 3 sets of bleachers. You have fans packing up and against the new netting instead of a fence. And this field really just a spectacle. You look around, the bullpen's extremely nice, and one of the other advantages to a field like this is even if it rains a little bit, which it has the past couple of days, you can still play on a field like this because the drainage is much better. And kind of moving over towards playing on the field, Tim, I know you were a former Darien baseball player a couple years ago. Talk about the difference between playing on a turf field like this and then playing on a grass and dirt field.
Well, Darien also has a turf field at the varsity, JV level, and freshman level. The big difference between this field and the Darien High School field is the mound. The mound here is all turf. This field is 100% turf. The mound at Darien High School is a dirt field. Years ago, it used to be dirt around home plate, but just dirt field. So that's going to be the big difference. Look for the Darien pitcher, Easterbrook, see if he gets his footing on the turf mound. Your plant foot's going to catch a little bit more. You're not going to be able to fall down the mound as successfully, so we'll see if Easterbrook's going to be able to be pumping strikes right away or not. But first, we got Jocelyn on the mound for the Rams.
Yeah, take a look around the infield for the Rams. At third, Thomas Schulman, the junior captain. At short, you have Tristan McAllister, the junior captain. Then at second. Luke DeAndrea, who is replacing his brother Nico, who had suffered an injury to his lower body. Then at first, Adrian Delicata. Then out in the outfield, in right field for the Rams, you have number 3, Petey Zwick. In center, Benny Hegel, and in left, Alex Edergino. Up at the plate now, Aiden Elders for the Blue Wave. Elders digs in. First pitch on this new field is thrown for a strike. Strike one.
Great pitch there by Jocelyn. Seemed a little low to Elders, you know, maybe right at the knee level, but gets it in there, and it's a great start first pitch at Capo Field here, John.
Back in early for a strike. Second pitch fanned on by Elders. 2 strikes. Elders down 0-2 in the count. So around here too, you might notice from our camera angles, or if you decide to make a visit, that you cannot see the scoreboard as of now behind the away dugout. There plans to move it eventually. When we talk about things being rough around the edges, that scoreboard you still cannot see behind now at 1-2 count. Fourth pitch laid out to center, laced towards the glove, and Benevent and Hegel catches. Hegel catches for the first out of the inning.
Some great pitch series by Jocelyn there. You know, goes with the fastball a lot, and you know, kind of keeps it there. But you know, it seemed to work for him. You know, gets Elders swinging, and that's a great first out here for the Rams.
Yeah, and one guy, as we were going around, we forgot to shout out was Maddox Hoffman behind the plate for the Rams. All FCIAC honorable mention last year as a freshman, now a sophomore, one of the better defensive catchers in the league.
And that's pretty impressive stuff coming being a freshman, and now he's a sophomore leading this varsity team.
Jocelyn's second pitch a strike, 1 ball, 1 strike. 1 out in the inning after Elders flied out to center field. Up at bat is Zawacki. Third pitch just outside for a ball.
Zawacki for Darien's a speedster. He slaps any ball in play. He's going to be hustling down the line. So if you're the Rams infield, you're going to have to be quick.
Senior captain for the Blue Wave as well. Now ball 3.
He's the younger of the 2 Zawackis. His older brother Dom was on this team last year as a senior. He's since graduated.
3-1 pitch low. And the Blue Wave have their first base runner. Zawacki on first, bringing up the bat of Spellman.
Good for Darien, you know, get on base early, and Jocelyn really pitching low and outside right now, so might have to make a couple adjustments, you know, still new to this field as well, but it's going to be interesting to see how Jocelyn adjusts to that first walk.
You know, we'll talk about guys. Spellman laces one to right field for a single. Runners on first and second for the Blue Wave. Attacking early is Spellman. As I was about to say, lots of seniors for this Blue Wave team. 15 to be exact. You can tell that dugout is loaded with blue jerseys. They travel 25 guys on the team. 15 of those are seniors.
That's a significant size of the roster. It's usually around 18 to 20 with the Darien team, but 25 is a significantly larger number.
And 7 of those, the remaining 10 guys are juniors. So 3 underclassmen on this Blue Wave team this year, returning tons of talent. Right now sitting at 8-5 overall, even 4-4 in the FCIAC. Ball in the dirt, blocked by Hoffman.
And this is the first game here at Capo Field. Interested to see how fast the turf's going to play. Some turf feels a little thicker than others. That liner by Spellman took off, so we'll see how this field plays today as the game goes on.
That one popped up out of play behind the dugout. Will count as a strike on hole. Merritt Hole up for the Blue Wave. Merritt Hole, you know, interesting player for this Blue Wave team. Both talented in the field, but also on the bump. He touches 90, or has touched 90 over the summer. He comes in starting pitcher sometimes, but also mainly a relief arm for the Blue Wave.
Yeah, Hole committed to Lafayette next year, senior. Very talented player for this Blue Wave team.
Pitch over the head of hole for a ball. Still runners on first and second for the Blue Wave. The Blue Wave looking to attack early and often on the new renovated Capo field. Jocelyn's pitch skied in the air. Schulman calling off everyone around him. He comes down with it for the second out. 2 down in the inning. Runners first and second. That was a pop out by Hull, bringing up the bat of Campbell. Taylor Campbell, senior captain for the Blue Wave. Lots of righties towards the top of this order as he digs in with a runner in scoring position. Jocelyn's fastball up in the zone, fanned on by Campbell. No balls, 1 strike, 2 outs in the inning. Second pitch, blew it right past him once again. 2 straight fastballs. Tucker, you think he goes with a third one here?
I think he goes. I think he goes to his slider here. You know, goes outside, tries to get Taylor Campbell swinging. You know, Campbell's going to kind of be in protect mode right now, and I think it's just a great time for Jocelyn to throw something off speed at him.
Campbell pops it up in the direction of Adrian Delicata. Delicata comes down with it a couple steps from the line, retiring the third batter for the Blue Wave. 3 outs. Now bottom of the first, up for the Rams be McAllister, Schulman, Delicata. An opportunity for New Canaan to plate the first run on Capo, and an opportunity to get ahead of your rival here early on. And you know, coming into this season, the Blue Wave, we talked about returning a lot. Their strength has definitely been their pitching. Their pitching has been lights out against teams they faced, although they do sit at an 8-5 record. They come off a 6-5 loss against Greenwich. They do have some impressive wins, including a big walk-off win against Trumbull that was really heard around the FCIAC. They've been competitive with a lot of other teams as well, but really that highlight of the season this year has been that win against Trumbull, which followed a 3-6 loss to Staples. And when it comes to kind of talking about playoff positioning right now, you know, 1 game separates 4th from 9th place. Of course, that will spread out as these games go along, but talking to both coaches before the game, the importance of winning games like these, just so important for both teams.
Yeah, and that Trumbull game actually went a full 9 innings at home at Darien High School. So they played a full MLB game in order to come home with the win for that one. Trumbull's always really good baseball town. They're always a lot of good players there. They play the game hard. They're hungry. They want the wins. So for the Blue Wave, in order to get that win at home is big, and it's going to be big down the stretch.
And Tim, on the bump for the Blue Wave, Tyler Easterbrook. He started both meetings for the Blue Wave last year when they faced the Rams in that win and then in the loss. But talk about Easterbrook and what New Canaan can expect from a guy from Darien, one of Darien's top pitchers here today.
Yeah, Easterbrook's the type of guy who's going to go deep into the ball game if he gets it. He tries to keep the ball on the ground. Sometimes he got more strikeouts than others, but not super big strikeout guy. But he's going to go far into the game for the Blue Wave.
Yeah, Easterbrook also, you know, I was talking to Coach Jay DeVito for the New Canaan Rams before this game, and Coach DeVito was telling me that from film he's watched, Easterbrook likes to kind of work backwards in his counts. He likes to, you know, throw those curveballs and first before really attacking the zone with his fastballs.
That means he just has the confidence in the off-speed pitches. The coaches have the confidence to call it in any count. You're behind 2-0, behind 2-1, 3-1, 3-0. If you're able to throw that get me over or even dot up the curveball, that could definitely do you well as a pitcher, and there's a lot of confidence in Easterbrook.
Up for the Rams in the leadoff spot will be Tristan McAllister, who's batting .355 on the season, including 11 hits and 6 RBIs and 2 extra base hits. Easterbrook going to bring his best against the rival in New Canaan. Over his first pitch, fastball for a strike. No balls, 1 strike. He throws off speed. McAllister a bit late, ball on the ground to Spellman, who retires McAllister. Early out for Easterbrook, just a 2-pitch out. You talk about, you know, not being a big strikeout pitchers, but outs like those so important, getting ground balls, getting fly balls, getting easier outs, so important, and a big part of why Easterbrook has been so successful during his time at Darien.
It's efficiency getting those quick and easy outs as well.
Next up for the Rams is Schulman, Thomas Schulman, a junior captain. You know, not often you see junior captains, especially in Fairfield County. New Canaan, their baseball team, has 3 of them this year, partially due to the fact that of the small senior class, the only senior captain for the Rams this year is Stuart Hellman, who's warming up in the bullpen beside us right now. Alex Edergino, he really came onto the scene this year and found his home in left field. And the other guy is Luke DeAndrea, as Schulman gets a hit down the line. He's digging for a second. He'll slide in safely with the first hit for the Rams on Capo Field is an extra base hit for Thomas Schulman.
Yeah, it's great to see. You know, Thomas Schulman, great kid, junior here at the high school, junior captain, as you were talking about earlier, John. And, you know, I know that means a lot to him. He's a big baseball guy, and it's great to see him, you know, just goes out to left field there and is able to hit a double.
Was a little bit late, but worked out in his favor. Put one down the line on the season. Of course, he's batting over 300. Now up is the team leader in hits and RBIs, Adrian Delicate. He's guys one in the gap. He'll plate Schulman. He digs for a second. First run of the game, first run on this new field belongs to the Rams. The RBI to Adrian Delicate. Delicate adds another hit, his 18th hit on the season and 13th RBI.
Gotta love me some AD action. Adrian Delicate, you know, he's a big boy, you know, plays offensive line, right guard for the, left guard for the New Canaan football team. And, you know, you think since he's so big, he can't run, but Delicate, you know, he's got some wheels on him. He runs fast, and that's a great double for Delicate.
Stand-up double, roped into the right center gap there.
Really good piece of hitting. Easterbrook's first pitch to Edergino, off speed for a strike. Delicate on second, and kind of talking about really yesterday was the first day this New Canaan team was allowed on the field and coming out and kind of walking around the field. Delicate was actually taking batting practice, and that's essentially where he was putting every ball in between in that right center gap for Delicate.
Delicate is a man of consistency.
Edergino, we talked about just coming onto the scene this season in 29 plate appearances, batting .345 with 10 hits and 2 RBIs as he whiffs at the pitch from Easterbrook. It's a ball up, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Easterbrook digs in, delivers, put on the ground towards short. Ground ball thrown over to Spellman at first by Walton. Retiring Edergino, but Edergino does his job, moves Delicate to third. And that brings up Maddox Hoffman, who, Tim, you talked about, remarkable season he had last year, continuing with his success this season. Batting .200, 6 hits, 5 RBIs, and one of 2 guys on the team with a home run. First pitch up in the zone, ball 1.
It's very interesting being some of the high school teams. Some of these teams could have maybe as a total of a team 10 home runs, or others will have 1 or 2. It all depends on your home field. Some fields are a little bigger than others.
Yeah, we talk about kind of the dimensions as that's ball 2, 2 balls, no strikes. But the dimensions on this field, 315 to the corners, 385 to center. And right now, actually, if you can't see on the camera, but right now in center, you may think that's the scoreboard. That's actually the batter's eye, not the scoreboard. Mr. Brooks fastball up, 3 balls, no strikes. Hoffman extremely patient.
You mentioned 385 to center. That's a big league homer to get that ball out of here. It's going to take a nice swing, barrel on the ball, and you're going to have to blast that ball out of here. But windy day like today, who knows?
Unless it's in your back, maybe.
4-pitch walk for Easterbrook. Runners on the corners for the Rams. Hoffman on first, Delicata on third. Up at the plate, the other guy who has a home run, Benny Hegel.
Yeah, I don't think Easterbrook really wanted to mess up with the cleanup hitter right there. Hoffman's probably not the guy you want to be pitching to in that situation, but Bennett Hegel, another great hitter, as you said, he has the other homer for this team, and he's batting fifth, so just as great as an opportunity here for the Rams.
He's an on-base threat as well. Ball one, you don't want him to end up on base with open bases because he'll take a bag or two before you blink.
Hegel's going to be patient here. 5 straight balls in a row thrown by Easterbrook.
Hoffman takes off for second. The throwdown drawn up play. 1 ball, 1 strike. That's a throwdown by Nee, the senior captain for the Blue Wave. Trying to see if Delicata would bite.
Hoffman leads the team on steals right now. I believe he's at 8 steals on the season, so it's great to see. Automatics, quick. Another football guy, along with Hegel too. Got 3 football guys out on the field right now for the Rams, and another pitch high there.
Ball 2, 2 balls, 1 strike. Hegel 2 quick hands. And if you're Easterbrook, get this out, limit the damage. Got 2 outs in the inning right now. Hegel grounds it to Spellman. Spellman waves off. Everybody taps the bag himself, and that'll do it for the opening inning here at the renovated Capo Field, live on NCTV and DAF Media Network. And we'll see you in just a few moments for the second inning of action, live on both YouTube channels. Top of the second here at renovated Capo Field. Up for the Blue Wave first. Nee and Walton. First pitch skied right into right field. Possibility. Ball bobbled by Zwick in right field. That was a sure single for Nee, the catcher.
Saw Nee kind of slip over there as he's rounding first base a little bit. A couple of the Blue Wave players have their cleats are kind of hit first base and they skidded off the base. There's a few different bases that are used. These seem like a little bit more of the harder plastic ones. It's really hard to get a grip on it.
Up for the Blue Wave, Karczewski, football wide receiver. We talked about multi-sport athletes and All guys on this new Canaan team. As for the Blue Wave, Karzuski, a varsity wide receiver, up at the dish right now.
Yeah, Karzuski's definitely out for vengeance right now. You know, I think he got hurt 2 or 3 times in the state championship this year, and see what he does from here as
Zwick on
he
the
goes
chase.
deep right.
Deep right, ball in the corner being thrown in. New Canaan's defense will halt the Blue Wave runners at 2nd and 3rd, but Karzuski with an extra base hit.
Just like that, Blue Waves got ducks on the pond, 2nd and 3rd, no outs. Jocelyn a little bit of trouble here. Blue Wave chasing a run after Easterbrook gave up 1 bottom of the 1st inning. Blue Waves knocking on the door here.
Talk about where we are in the order too as well. 6, 7, 8 for the Blue Wave. If you can get sustained offensive production from your 6, 7, 8 guys, you'll be in good positioning. Ball flied again towards the direction of Zwick. Zwick catches. Tagging are the Blue Wave, thrown in. And the Blue Wave played over run. That's Nee, the catcher, coming in to score for the Blue Wave, making it 1-1. Nothing really Zwick could do out in right field.
Ball wasn't even hit too deep either. Windy day, ball's going to take you. But both runners are able to tag. One comes around to score, other one goes up to 3rd. Blue Waves got the go-ahead run on 3rd with only 1 out.
Right now is the 9-hitter for the Blue Wave, Smosky. Ball on the ground to DeAndrea, who throws to Delicata, making sure he taps the bag. But job was successful for the Blue Wave. Karzuski comes home to score. Blue Wave on top by 1.
In a blink of an eye, there's 2 runs there. Corners were in on that one, so New Canaan was playing to maybe get the play at the plate. It was hit to 1st or 3rd, hit to 2nd base by Samoski, 2-1 Blue Wave.
Top of the order up for the Blue Wave, Aiden Elders, senior we mentioned, plays hockey and baseball. Interesting combination that you don't see often. Jocelyn's off-speed pitch, guide to left field deep. Edergino keeps on going back. Wind trailing out, comes down with it. And that'll do it for the top of the 2nd. Blue Wave do some damage, now up 2-1.
Fairly fast inning for, scoring 2 runs, John. It was, a lot of 2 sacrifice plays, and, it's just, it paid off for the Wave, but, definitely took their time on that one.
Yeah, and that was good. That was a good kind of approach, right? Although you do get a couple outs, you do your job. You ground ball to the right, get runners on early, and again, talking about where that production came from. It came from your 6, 7, 8 guys. Now next inning you'll have the top of the order up, or 2, 3, 4. For the Rams up now, DeAndrea. DeAndrea followed by Hickey Zwick. So 7, 8, 9 for the Rams, trailing by 1 still very, very early. I think one thing that we didn't expect to see was really the hitters come and attack these pitchers early on. Some thoughts from both of you on the way that both pitchers have been working.
Well, I think Blue Wave was able to get on Jocelyn a little bit there. He was mixing up his pitches a little bit more in the top of the 1st inning, throwing the fastball up, getting some guys' eyes to light up and swing at it. Last inning, he was working a little bit more like middle towards low part of the zone. Blue Wave was putting the bat on it. 2 quick hits, and then, as you mentioned, a few sacrifices to do the job. But Darien was not sitting waiting for pitches. They were ready to swing right through the get-go.
Yeah, both teams doing a good job attacking early, especially the Blue Wave in that top of the 2nd. As you mentioned, Easterbrook still on the mound, nicknamed Bunny, with that last name. And coming out, you look for, after a more difficult bottom of the 1st, you look for more consistent bottom of the 2nd, kind of gain your footing. Emotions very high, levels of excitement much higher here at Capo Field.
And if you're Easterbrook, you look for a comeback inning here. Your team picked you up now by 1. You're looking for some quick and efficient outs here. Last inning, he threw a lot of pitches.
DeAndrea digs in for the Rams as the Blue Wave continue to toss the ball around.
Looks like they're attending to Darien catcher Jack Nee. Seems to be all right.
DeAndrea transferred from St. Luke's. He played for New Canaan both his freshman and sophomore year, then played at St. Luke's last season before coming back this year alongside his brother this season through 39 plate appearances, batting .257 with 9 hits, 6 RBIs, an opportunity here to get on base for the bottom of the order and bring up a guy like Zwick, who had 3 RBIs in that Greenwich game last week. First pitch by Easterbrook, fastball, little up and away, ball 1.
You mentioned 3 RBIs. 3 RBIs could be a whole week for some of these high school players. That would be a good week. The fact that Zwick had it in 1 game is quite the game for him.
Second pitch fanned on by DeAndrea. Easterbrook brings the gas. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Expect Easterbrook to bring the heat here.
Payoff pitch now. 2 balls, 2 strikes, all knotted at 2. Again, no outs in the inning. Blue Wave able to tack on a couple in the top of the second. And DeAndrea passes on the gas by Easterbrook. Easterbrook flexing the muscles with the fastball. Gets DeAndrea to strike up. Up next is Hickey. Grant Hickey, who hasn't seen much playing time this season, but the lefty had a couple good days of practice, found himself in the starting lineup alongside Jake Valente's injury in right field, as Hickey's playing right field for the Rams today.
Yeah, Hickey's a guy that can, do anything, play a lot of different positions, and, he's just a great guy. He's a guy you want on your team, and, I'm sure he's got the athleticism in him, and I know he's a great baseball player, so should be interesting to see what he can do here today.
Hickey being a lefty batter, maybe they wanted him in the lineup today. Just another look up against a tough righty.
Talk about matchups too as well, always playing that matchups. I know New Canaan's faced a couple of really strong lefties. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Hickey. 1 out in the inning as well. And you talk about some of the rain. New Canaan was supposed to be playing supposed to play on Monday against Brian McMahon. Instead, that game moved to Saturday, as Hickey laces one in right field, and he'll get there before the throw, or the possibility of the throw from right field. And he's on first with a single.
That's great to see from the lefty. As Tim was saying, that's what you want against the righty pitcher. Get another look in, and it's obviously easier to hit on and off a pitcher with the other hand. So that's great to see out of number 23, Grant Hickey.
And that seems to be the formula for the Rams today. 3 different left-handed batters coming up, hitting the ball hard. But a lot of liners to right field. There was one down the left field line, which happened to stay in, but it seems like Easterbrook's having a hard time getting these left-handed batters out today.
You talk about it, Rams 3 hits, all come from lefties. Now digging in is the 9-hole hitter for the Rams, P.D. Zwick, who had a strong week last week. Normally he's the backup to Maddox Hoffman behind the dish, but also substituted in as the DH as well. And today playing in right field. The great thing about varsity high school baseball is a lot of these guys can kind of play everywhere in the field. They're not deadlocked to a single position.
Yeah, P.D. Zwick committed to play baseball at the Division I level at Utah Valley, which is great to see from Zwick. And even though Hoffman, just such a great pitcher, hard to play over him, but it's great to see P.D. Zwick getting some time out here today.
Easterbrook once again relies on his fastball to gain a strike. 2 balls, 1 strike. Hickey at first, with McAllister on deck. That's the strikeout from Zwick. 2 down, Hickey on first. McAllister, the leadoff hitter for the Rams. McAllister spent a lot of time pitching for the Rams. When he's not pitching, he's playing shortstop. Very, very strong fielder. Again, another guy who you can move around, as Easterbrook checks Hickey once again.
He's keeping him true over here at first base. First pickoff attempt, dove back in and kind of got caught up on the turf. Just trying to keep him there and keep him from getting to scoring position with the steal.
First pitch of the at-bat bounces in front of Nee. Nee keeps it in front, and we really haven't talked about, because we haven't seen a pass ball yet, but the extended amount of space. If that ball gets by your catcher, you know, the opposing team will take one, maybe two bags, depending on the bounce. Ball flied out towards center, right to the glove of Smosky. Great swing by McAllister, just could not find the empty hole.
It's a great, not a bad half inning for the Rams. Definitely some great hits, and Hickey gets on base, which is great to see out of a guy that doesn't play a lot, and some confidence out of him. But it'll be interesting to see kind of how Jocelyn and the Rams approach this the top of the third here.
We'll be back here live on DAF and NCTV for the third inning of action in just a moment, so we'll see you then. NCTV and DAF Media Network. First game on the newly renovated Capo Field. Up for the Brave 2-3 4.
That first pitch fouled off to the left there as Milwaukee goes down 0-1 here. Pitch low there from Jocelyn. That one in the dirt. Count goes to 1-1.
1 ball, 1 strike. 3-4. Milwaukee flies one to left field. On the chase, just foul. Steps left of the line.
That one almost hit our cameraman back there in left field. Johnny almost hit him, and yeah.
Able to get a hold of one from Jocelyn. Hockey.
That's a tough one. Hit him with 2 strikes there. Just roped one down the line. Just foul. Leadoff guy on base by the hit by pitch. Just like that, Darien's got another man on base. Sawacki on first. Got a good amount of speed. See if they put anything into play here.
That one out to Edergino, who will throw it into McAllister, and that'll be the first out of the inning here for the Rams. Sorry for we're having some technical difficulties over here with John's mic, but Tim and I hope you can still hear us over here on this one.
Batter now for the Blue Wave is Merritt Hole, 4-hitter, right fielder for today's game.
Jocelyn's pitch in for a strike.
John's back now.
Facing a couple technical difficulties. We are still out here at Capo Field. Generator behind the dugout, so we apologize for any tech. Game on the new field as well. Hoffman turf in front of him.
Another one in the dirt by Jocelyn, back-to-back in the dirt. Trying to stay away from the middle of the plate with the 4-hitter, hole up.
Hole, a deadly bat in for the Blue Wave too as well, of course, batting.
Another one in the dirt. Brings us to 3-1 count here.
Yeah, and you can be selective here with the 3-1 count, getting the sign over there from third base coach, head coach Mike Scott, Darien Blue Wave.
That one popped up there out to Edergino in left field. He'll grab that one and throw it into McAllister, and that'll be the second out.
There have been a lot of those high fly balls today. We have a very gray, overcast sky. Wind's going to move the ball around. You got to stay on your toes as any of the outfielders or any of the infielders taking a big league fly. But that's 2 outs now. Jocelyn's pitching here to Campbell.
And it's interesting too, right? Because it started out very sunny here, and then as the time has progressed, that ball behind Hoffman right back to him. And no one covering second for the Rams. Ball behind the plate sent that ball right back to Hoffman as it slipped through his legs.
And that's going to be an interesting thing which the Rams are going to have to learn here. First game on Capo Field. That is a brick wall back there. Solid brick wall. No padding as of right now. No padding. That ball skipped way underneath Hoffman, but a line drive right back to him. It's going to be like a pinball machine back there.
It'll be awesome to see if a catcher's ever able to, catch that ball off the brick wall and still get the guy out over at second.
Yeah, if you're a runner, like, you just got to hang your head. Another fly ball in the infield.
Campbell pops up there, infield. That one caught by DeAndrea, and that'll be the third out of top of the third inning here as we're coming in to switch innings, and Rams hoping to tie this one up here. 2-1 Wave is the score.
We'll see you back here on NCTV and DAF Media Network. Just a moment for this bottom of the third inning at Capo Field. Easterbrook on the bump for the Blue Wave still. Bottom of the third. New Canaan looking to find a way to get some runs, and coming into this game too as well. Both coaches stressed the importance of hitting the ball and not making fielding mistakes, playing a clean game out in the field, but also, grinding out at bats. You don't ever want to go down in 3 pitches. A guy who really is good at grinding out at bats, Thomas Schulman, up for the Rams. Schulman, Delicata, and Edergino. If you're just joining us, Delicata with an extra base hit. He came around to score for the Rams' only run.
Count 1-0 here. See what
Easterbrook goes back to the fastball. 1 ball, 1 strike. Schulman, a lefty. Tim, you brought up a good point. The lefties for New Canaan putting in a lot of good work. Easterbrook. Schulman puts one on the ground, fielded cleanly by Spellman, who flips to Easterbrook for the first out of the inning.
Yeah, and as you mentioned there, John, the lefties have been the killer so far for Easterbrook today. Has not surrendered a hit yet to a right-handed New Canaan Rams batter as of yet, but 3 different lefties have gotten 3 different hits off of him so far. So the reverse splits are being shown today.
Another lefty up for the ring. Kata, probably their best left-handed hitter this season in terms of performance, leading the team in hits and RBIs. He got on with the double to right center earlier in this game, looking for his second hit on the day.
A 1-0 count here. Easterbrook deals. Delicata goes back out.
Delicata gets barrel right to Elders. Elders retires Delicata, but a swing like that too as well. You can't be frustrated or upset with a swing like that. You got barrel on the ball, which is exactly what you want. It's a successful at bat, although it doesn't result in someone on the base. It's a good swing.
A little bit of an off-balance swing there, reaching out with your front hand, but still powered that ball all the way out to the gap. Elders covering a decent amount of ground, covering that ball with ease, and that's a big out. Back-to-back big outs for Easterbrook after he surrendered back-to-back base hits in the first inning to those batters.
2 outs for Easterbrook. Up comes Edergino, a senior, one of 3 seniors on this New Canaan Rams team. Notice the way he swings too as well. Very, very loose hands, just on the fly. First pitch fouled off for a strike.
We apologize for the wind in our mics right now. Very windy out here at Capo Field.
Not a lot of tree protection too as you look around. You know, coming with this field, they didn't take down a lot of trees, but to begin with, there wasn't a lot of, you know, growth of, I guess, natural wildlife as Edergino skies one to center right in the direction of Smosky, who tracks it right into the mid-ending bottom of the third here at Capo Field. Top of the fourth. New Canaan goes back out. Jocelyn looks to continue his pitching. You know, he definitely settled down after giving up those 2 Darien runs in the second inning. Had a good first, struggled a little bit in the second, but came out strong in the third.
Yeah, and you know, John, as you were saying, not a lot of trees here around this field, unlike Mead Park where there's a tree back in center field. So it's great to see, you know, again, you know, Capo Field, such a beautiful new field, and it's great to see no field blocking a potential home run in center field.
We're also on the top of a hill here as well. We got some fields below us down near the parking lot. So there's not too much to block the winds, as you mentioned, John, that there's not too many trees, but wind's definitely a big factor today.
Yeah, and also, you know, it gives a good segue to kind of talking about Mead Park, the place that they left. They've been playing baseball for so long there, and it wasn't just varsity, right? It was all levels, Little League. Of course, the youth will still be playing there as they redid those small fields to become turf a couple of years ago. But this whole project has been in the mix for a very, very long time. You know, 15 years ago, they kind of drew up a plan which fell through. Then they come back, they draw up something like this. But at Mead Park, baseball has been played there. It's become a staple of the town of New Canaan. Of course, lacrosse and football get so much attention because of how good the teams are. But New Canaan baseball has been strong and has been a root in this community for such a long time. And coming back to this field's going to be here for a very, very long time. Jocelyn's first pitch. Off-speed pitch at the knees.
To go into Mead Park a little bit, I played there as a player years ago, and it was pretty interesting. If you got a big guy that ripped a line drive or fly ball to center field.
As that ball's ripped to right field, not center field for a single by Nee, the catcher. Beautiful swing. Zwick able to throw the ball in, but does not change the outcome, which is a single. A base hit for Nee.
So as I was saying, if you're playing at Mead Park and you hit a fly ball into that tree in center field, it would do like a pinball effect. And the center fielder would be looking up in the air and his arms up in the air. Where's it going to drop? When's it going to drop? And we kind of had different rules. Like, is that a grounds rule double? Do you play it depending on the game?
Yeah, you have to assume, you know, the rules are going to stay the same pretty much all the time here. No tree in center field, you know, but also something like that had become iconic at the old field. You know, you're going to Mead, okay, there is a tree in center field. Can anyone hit the tree? That ball fouled out and will bounce down through the dirt foul ball.
Just one of those oddities, kind of brings me back to, obviously none of us were alive back then, but Yankee Stadium used to have, the old Yankee Stadium, used to have a few monuments in play in center field. I know it's not a tree, but it's a similar thing.
Jocelyn checks knee at first. Throws over up now. The wide receiver, Karczewski, who also is the DH for the Blue Wave today.
That pitch in the dirt again, and Jocelyn's really got to, get some better command on these pitches as he's kind of thrown a couple wild ones here. It's going to be, really important if he wants to, control the Rams hitting, or the Blue Waves hitting. He's really got to get those pitches into Hoffman's glove.
And the opened up backstop allows for something like that to happen where the runner really can essentially just walk into second base. Jocelyn strikes out Karczewski, bringing up Walton, the 8-hitter for the Blue Wave.
Jocelyn seems to be kind of crossfire and leaving some of those breaking balls down low. Hoffman missed one or two of them there, allowed the runner to go to second. See if that trend continues.
First pitch at the knees, a bit lower for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes. Runner at second for the Wave. Pitch skied in towards the left side of the infield. McAllister calls off Schulman and Edergino, retiring Walton. Now Smosky, the 9-hole hitter for the Blue Wave, up next with 2 outs.
Smosky had a good hit last time, as in the Waves' big scoring affair, and it'll be interesting to see as Jocelyn goes off speed and gets the first strike.
Talk about importance of early strikes too as well. A pitch like that, good to get ahead in the count. No balls, 1 strike. And both these pitchers, not their best performances so far today, but getting ahead early helps you, gain that extra step on the batter. His second pitch, a strike. Smosky down 0-2 in the count.
Jocelyn finding the heat on that one. That's one of the fastest pitches to the naked eye that we've seen so far. So, definitely starting to get a little more comfortable, it seems, and find his groove.
Yeah. Jocelyn's off-speed pitch blocked by Hoffman.
Seems to be mixing up the pitch mix here against Smosky. Smosky got RBI the last time up at the plate. Started him backwards with the curveball, then threw a few pitches in, and he's looking for a strike right here. 2 straight balls by Jocelyn.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Duck on the pond for Smosky. Ball fouled off. We'll see. And it will not stay in play. Again, 2 balls, 2 strikes. You talked about kind of working backwards, Tim, but in a 2-strike count, right, where do you go here?
Well, you got 2 balls, so you still got 1 more to work with if you're trying to get him to chase. He's thrown a few up, thrown a few in, so I think he might try to go away here, see if he can get Smosky to chase.
Jocelyn's pitch, once again, fouled off. You can tell everyone are behind, too, as well. All the Little Leaguers here to celebrate the opening of the new field, the race for the foul ball.
Yeah, John, this is probably one of the biggest attendance records I've seen at, the New Canaan baseball games. A lot of students here as well as parents and players, and it's just great to see the community coming together for New Canaan baseball.
Ball put on the ground. Delicata able to field cleanly. 3rd out of the inning. New Canaan retires the Blue Wave. And now we'll transition bottom of the 4th, down 2-1. Rams trying to figure out something offensively. Of course, Darien's pitching a strong suit. New Canaan's seen glimpses of hope, and part of it comes with not trying to do too much, right? Try to get a single, try to get a runner on, and that can really mess with guys' heads, especially in high school ball. But Easterbrook very, very strong for the Blue Wave and extremely consistent too as well.
Yeah, and the Blue Wave works with their pitching staff. Everyone, assume every high school has their pitchers and catchers that meet even before some of the tryouts are going on. The guys that you assume are going to be there, the captains. Usually some of your captains are your catcher, one of your top pitchers, but they work time and time again with their pitchers, and they really try to get their guys through games, get them through that 4th to the 5th, 6th, and maybe even a complete game here or there. But they really try to rely on their guys.
Speaking of catchers, the first batter for New Canaan will be Maddox Hoffman, sophomore sensation. Up after him will be Benny Hegel, and then DeAndrea.
I wonder how Easterbrook's going to pitch Hoffman. Last time he had 4-pitch walk. There was a runner on third. He was pitching around him a little bit, but we'll see how he attacks him this time.
5, 6, 7 for the Rams, and in my opinion, I'd say this is the most important part of the order on any baseball team, those 5, 6, 7 guys, because you get a couple guys on early, and these guys are the guys that are expected to drive them in, and then even guys in this part of the order expected to get on and cause a little bit of ruckus, and that's why you normally have some of your stronger batters here in the 5, 6, 7 spots. Easterbrook has settled down both pitchers, and coming into this game there was really a lot of talk. This is a big opening for the town of New Canaan, on top of the fact that it's a New Canaan-Darien rivalry. I know, Tucker, you played football, you played in some intense rivalry games between the two towns. These two towns separated by just under 4 miles apart, and it's one of the biggest rivalries in the FCIAC. It transcends through each and every sport, no matter the surface, of course, here on turf. So on top of that, new field opening and also playoff implications, you can't look too far in advance. Yeah, but the playoff race definitely becoming tight.
Yeah, John, playing against Darien is always, the game you're looking forward to. As Coach Marinelli always tells us football guys, it wouldn't matter if you're 0-9, you're still going to go out there and try to win this game with all hearts. So it's, it's the biggest game on the schedule no matter what for these two teams, and it'll be great to see kind of how the Rams approach the rest of this one.
Ball inside, strong plate awareness and zone awareness by Hoffman. 2 balls and 1 strike, I believe. Unfortunately, and my apologies, Tim, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Still can't see the scoreboard.
Wonder if they even have it up, John. You think they got the numbers on it right now, or?
I would hope so. I mean, of course, doesn't do us just. Yeah, now at least we.
I don't see anyone in the crowd really turning and looking that way, so I guess we just got to all keep our own counts here.
3 balls, 2 strikes. Hoffman on the approach. Skies 1-2, hole in right. And hole comes down with it easily. Hoffman fly out to hole. Benny Hegel, the center fielder, up next for the Rams.
And both pitchers today, Easterbrook and Jocelyn, getting a lot of those easier fly balls for their fielders, easy outs, lower stress, helps keep the pitch count down. Granted, that was a full count, but weak contact is what you want.
Eagle bunt attempt there, got legs on him, wide receiver on the football team, fast guy, so, maybe trying to run one out here for the Rams.
And when we're not on the mic, I think it would be a really interesting point of view to stand behind the home plate and watch a game here. This field just so beautiful, really, from any angle you look at it, but especially from behind home plate. No balls, 1 strikes on Hegel, off-speed pitch. Looked like a curveball in for strike 2, getting ahead of Hegel early on. DeVito, first base coach, now giving Hegel the swing away sign. Brooks off-speed pitch, fouled off. Hegel a bit late. That ball's rolling down the hill now. No balls, 2 strikes. Easterbrook has really the entire arsenal at his expense right now. Can throw anything he wants. He elects a fastball. Hegel fouls it off. Still count remains. Oh, no balls, 2 strikes.
Easterbrook has done a good job of establishing that fastball up in the zone. Got a late swing there by Hegel. Struck out some batters last few innings on that same pitch as well.
What a pitch by Easterbrook. Backwards K on Hegel. Hegel looked like he was debating swinging. Easterbrook just tied up Hegel in a knot.
That was a slider dotted on the outside corner there, changing the eye level. Pitch prior, fastball up in the zone. This time caught Hegel looking. Strike 3 in the outside corner.
Luke D'Andrea, the next batter up for New Canaan. You talk about it, and that's what happens when you get ahead 0-2 in a count. You can throw really essentially anything you want, especially with no one on, too. You don't have to worry about a runner taking a base on a bad pitch. Easterbrook once again ahead 0-2.
Yeah, he seems to be getting in a groove. As a pitcher, you always want to be working ahead. As you mentioned, John, when you get to that 0-2, you can throw a waste pitch or you can go and attack him. Depends on the hitter, depends on the game, depends on the pitcher. But right now, Easterbrook getting into a little bit of a groove here.
Hey, Easterbrook definitely not the pitcher you want to, start getting comfortable, and the Rams are going to want to get a good hit here soon if they want to, stay in this game.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Easterbrook well ahead of the count once again. Trying to strike out all 3 in the bottom of the 4th here. Wave still on top.
Easterbrook just let that last fastball eat up in the zone, changing the eye level up a little bit.
Both teams said they knew that it would be a lower scoring affair. Easterbrook strikes out all 3 Rams who came up to bat this past bottom of the 4th. We'll see you back here live on NCTV and DAF for the 5th, 6th, and 7th innings of action between the New Canaan Rams and the Darien Blue Wave. Top of the 5th here at Capo Field. Jocelyn's first pitch. That ball nuked to left field. Edergino goes back to the warning track, comes down with the ball. Aiden Elders touch a ball.
It's the second time he's really crushed one out to left field. Edergino, few steps before the track out there, but warmer day, maybe a little less wind. That one might have had a chance.
Coach Michael Tisha getting pumped at Edergino on that one. Great play by Edergino, covering a lot of grass back there and able to get back. Can't totally see her from here, but at least near the warning track there. So that's a great play by Edergino.
Jocelyn's first pitch, a strike, and credit to Edergino for the season that has been building on this season. Coming in, he's essentially had to work for everything he's been given. And he's been performing at a very high level, into which the point where that left field spot essentially is his spot.
That one hits off of the building back here, and that's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. A lot of windows back there, so
and it's a ball chase by about 10 or 12 Little Leaguers.
See where that, if a window's ever broken over there.
Jocelyn's pitch, fastball right by Zawacki. Gets him on the strikeout, retiring 2 Blue Wave jerseys early on in the top of the 5th. Up next is Spellman, 1, 2, 3 for the Blue Wave. If you're the Blue Wave, this is the part of the order that you're really trying to get on base and get some motion in the base path. Spellman the lefty. Lefty-righty matchup. Ball off the glove of Hoffman, ball 1.
Seems like Jocelyn's really trying to work those lefties in on the hands, up and in. A little above the belt, kind of above the belt in between the letters. That's what he's been trying to do to Spellman and Samoski, left-handed batters for the Blue Wave this afternoon.
Jocelyn's second pitch, ball low, 2 balls, no strikes on Spellman.
Got 2 outs here, he might take a pitch.
Third pitch low below the knees, 3 balls, no strikes. I'd assume if you're Spellman, you're looking over towards third base, you're getting the no-go sign or swinging 3 balls, no strikes. And a 4-pitch walk. Walking Spellman right over to first, bringing up Merritt Hull. 2 outs in the inning.
2 outs. 2 outs.
Here's some alarm going off. I believe they might try to finish this inning and then have a conversation.
Is that a lightning alarm?
I think it might be.
It is.
I didn't see any. I think we're good to keep going. This game's moving pretty fast, too.
Yeah, this is a fast-moving game,
Yeah.
Tim, but I know it has to do with the location of the lightning, so it'll be interesting to see kind of where we're able to make it in this game, and if it continues in this direction, kind of when they continue the game.
Spellman on first. Hull digging in, 2 outs. Jocelyn, there's a ball in the turf. Good block by Hoffman, keeping Spellman at bay.
I think that could have been a false alarm. I'm going to be our meteorologist here, and I'm not seeing anything on the radar currently. But it is a very, very gray overcast. It's a little sunnier when the game first started, but it's a little gray and windy. If it was a few weeks ago, we'd be wearing a little bit more clothing here. It'd be pretty cold.
It's a nice little day out, over 70 degrees. And Hull swings and misses. 2 balls, 2 strikes. So you just look at that Darien bench. 25 guys is the traveling squad, plus a couple coaches. Spellman attempts to run Hegel in on fly ball by Hull, retiring Hull. Moving towards the bottom of the 5th, New Canaan down 2-1. And this is where things get interesting, right? You're playing with your arms. Easterbrook had an extremely strong bottom of the 4th inning. You have to assume Darien and head coach Mike Scott's going to stick with Easterbrook until really there is any commotion. But of course that leash very short when it's a one-run game.
Yeah, and Easterbrook just struck out the side last inning, kind of just had his way with the Rams hitters. In control, spotting pitches up, spotting pitches on that outside corner. Looks to continue the same thing here, and as you mentioned, John, it is just a 1-run ball game, 2-1 lead for the Wave. They are the road team, so that could play a factor into Easterbrook staying on the mound for much longer.
You see a quick meeting from head coach Jay DeVito, really trying to hype up, and not head coach, assistant coach Jay DeVito, and head coach Anthony Bloss, Michael Tisha, trying to rally this New Canaan offense, because they did start out with a little bit of aggressiveness at the plate, and since then it really has died down a little bit up against Easterbrook. Easterbrook really having a strong mound presence against these Rams hitters as this game has progressed.
Got Hickey up here for the Rams. Hickey did a great job, singled his last time at bat, and as we were saying, he hasn't seen too many plate appearances yet this year, but Hickey off to a good start in this one.
Hickey with the strong base hit, looking to add another, and as we've talked about all day, Easterbrook has struggled against the Rams lefties. Another opportunity, and this is where you really, if you're the Rams, right, start to build some momentum. Get a guy on base just with a little bit of a single. Hickey can't get on, then that opens up opportunities for Petey Zwick, who had a solid last week, and then moving towards the top of the order. 8-9-1. McAllister, remember, he got a hold of one his last time up. It was a fly ball deep in the outfield. No balls, no strikes. Clean sheet for Easterbrook. Easterbrook has gotten ahead of past couple Rams hitters. His first pitch, fastball right in the heart of the zone. No balls, 1 strike.
That's one thing we're going to look for here with Easterbrook. Struck out the side last inning. Going to see if he can get those first pitch strikes and then get that account leverage, which means you are ahead. Ball 1 inside. Ties up the count at 1-1.
1 ball, 1 strike. Easterbrook. Ball now looking towards Hickey. Hickey digs in. Hickey off the inside part of the bat, foul ball to the left side. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Easterbrook again with an arsenal where he can really pick his type of pitch here in a 1-2 count. Little bit of a pause, deep breath. Ball fouled off by Hickey. Quick update for all you baseball fans who also pay attention to softball scores. Of course, when New Canaan and Darien baseball play each other normally at the same time, New Canaan and Darien softball playing each other. Both teams towards the top of the FCIAC right now, really top 4. Live on DAF Media Network right now, all knotted at 0. Bottom of the 6th inning, Darien at the plate. So, of course, you can't watch 2 games at once. If you have 2 devices, turn on both. Listen to both as that ball, a hit for Hickey off the glove of Walton. Interesting to see the way they score that, whether they score that a single or if it's an error on Walton.
That's a straight hit. That's not a routine ball. Walton had to jump up just off the heel of the glove, but that's a hard hit line drive. That's going to be a hit there. That's a leadoff base runner, the tying runner for New Canaan.
We talk about, good swings. Very, very good swing from Hickey. Barrel to ball contact now. Petey Zwick, the 9-hitter. The throw over Easterbrook to Spellman.
That was really close. Got our field umpire in on the grass right behind, well, turf, but in on the grass there. Throws over again. From our vantage point, that looked like New Canaan got away with one right there.
Hickey's got to tie his shoe here on first base, but the Blue Wave definitely going to pick him off here on first base.
And Easterbrook, we've seen here today, right? When a runner gets on, he definitely becomes much more aware of the situation. And of course, he's always aware because he's a smart pitcher, but very aware of the bats. As Zwick tries to bunt over Hickey to second, he does, laying down the bunt, retired. It's what you call a sacrifice bunt, doing his job as the 9-hole hitter. Now Tristan McAllister up with the duck on the pond, the tying runner at second.
And that was a pretty hard bunt there by Zwick, but it did the job. Got Hickey over to second base.
And
tying run.
Back to the top of the order here, which is something that you really want if you're the Rams. You want McAllister, Delicata, Shulman up at bat.
1 out. Grant Hickey on second. Easterbrook steps off. Tristan McAllister at the plate. First pitch low, ball 1. This is where mound composure is so important. This composure of Easterbrook on the mound with a runner in scoring position. You do have one out. Pitch in for a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. So the Darien defense playing pretty neutral right now. Very deep in the outfield. McAllister on the ground, fielded by Walton, throws to Spellman for the second out of the inning. Moves Hickey to third.
Now if you're the Rams, you got the bats that you want up right now, 2, 3, 4, with your 2 and 3 hitters already with base hits on the day.
Thomas Schulman, the junior captain, he played varsity his freshman year. Then last year as a sophomore really took that next step, became a starter. And this year moved to third after playing the middle infield. Last year, he primarily played second and a little bit of short, but once he moved over, last year New Canaan graduated a lot of seniors, including Alex Benevento, a household name, staple in New Canaan baseball. Ball fouled off by Schulman. Schulman kicks. The pitch low. One ball, 2 strikes. Schulman has to be careful of the zone. He flies one out towards right center, right towards the direction of Smosky, who hauls it in for the out. Now moving towards the top of the 6th. Rams still down 2-1 against the Blue Wave. Easterbrook continues to hold strong on the bump for the Blue Wave for New Canaan. Jocelyn going out once again. He's used to going in deep in games. He's always only pitching those 6-7 innings. So he's definitely used to it. An opportunity here to continue, keep his team in this game. Of course, a more defensive game here today. We saw 3 runs in that second inning. Since then, we haven't seen 1.
Yeah, both pitchers have done a good job of limiting some hard contact. And if it has been some hard contact, there are some fly balls with a good amount of air under it. Outfielders have been able to come down with the catch. Good catches out there. But this is a pitcher's duel as of right now. Blue Wave scored their 2 runs in the second. New Canaan scored their 1 run in the bottom of the first. But since then, it's been few innings of scoreless baseball and good pitching.
Talk about it again. I think once you really kind of take the nerves out of the game, settle things down, take the fact that you're playing on a new field out of the equation. It's New Canaan, Darien, all of these games extremely tightly contested. You mentioned softball, still scoreless, a pitching duel. I know on Darien's side they have the pitcher, I don't quite know her name, but she's been dominant on the bump. She's their ace. Ace versus ace in the softball game. Lauren Fico pitching for the Rams. And over here again, Jocelyn, the Rams' second pitcher. McAllister has the first spot. But really kind of interchangeable pitchers. Depending on the day, I'd call either one of them an ace, just showing the strength of those 2. Ball popped towards the direction of the bullpen. Delicata forced as he hits the fencing. Thrown in from the side. Up for the Blue Wave is Campbell, the 5-hole hitter. No balls, 1 strike. Jocelyn's pitch inside, fastball for ball 1. 1 ball, 1 strike. Off-speed pitch up way over the head of Campbell. 2 balls, 1 strike, no one on, and no outs in the top of the 6th. Bat on ball contact, ball lined out to Hegel in center. Good piece of contact by Campbell, can't find a hole. Now 1 out in the inning, bringing up Need, the catcher, who has a couple hits on the day.
That was an impressive swing by Campbell. That was a pitch up in the zone. He's able to get a flat swing on it and hits a pretty nice line drive, but happens to be right out of man, and that's baseball.
That is baseball. You can do everything right and still end up with an out. Just think about it. The pros get out, 6 or 7 times out of 10 every time they go up to the plate. Catcher knee takes ball 1. One ball, no strikes. Pitch at the knees, called for a ball. 2 balls, no strikes.
Jocelyn's been working quick, has not given up a run since the 2nd inning, getting on that mound, delivering the next pitch pretty quickly.
Another ball lined right to the glove of Hegel. Hegel not having to move at all to make that out on knee. 2 down in the inning, top of the 6th. Bringing up Karczewski, the wide receiver on the football team, the baseball player, the DH here today. My apologies, needed to just make sure I was correct. First pitch in for a strike, no balls, 1 strike. Jocelyn's second pitch, a ball. 1 ball, 1 strike.
These Darien hitters are being a little bit more diligent here on trying to control the at-bat, taking their timeouts when they can, because Jocelyn is working very quickly.
Now 1 ball, 2 strikes, and Jocelyn, you know, as a pitcher, once you get in a groove, you know, you kind of find your cadence. I think Jocelyn has found his cadence here as towards the latter half of this game, you know, consistently time and time again. You know, just pitch after pitch. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Right past the swing of Karczewski, retiring all 3. Now bottom of the 6th, Rams trying to plate a run down 2-1. And you know, we're here at the renovated Capo Field. We're gonna take another look at the features, some of them behind us, some of the amazing features of this field that, you know, we talked about. We talked a little bit about in the open, of course, the bullpen. You know, one of the biggest advantages is being on campus or just off of campus. You know, really just a walk away after you finish a sports game. You can come check to see if the Rams baseball team is playing. And, of course, the tree not in center field. And it is all turf, so maintenance. You know, of course, maintenance, a different type of maintenance, which you guys can touch on. Different type of maintenance in terms of turf versus sand.
Well, definitely, you don't have to worry so much about covering up any of the parts that are dirt. Because at Darien High School, as I mentioned, they do have dirt mounds and the bullpens in on the field. Second it starts raining, turf's going to be fine, but you need to get the tarps out there. They don't really have to worry about that too much here at the new Capo Field, but it definitely have to get used to the playing surfaces, playing on turf, whether you're the home team or the away team. So you need to get used to how fast the turf plays, because no patch of turf is the same.
Do you have anything to add, Tucker?
Yeah, I mean, that kind of sums up turf for you. Definitely different types of turf. You know, I'm a football guy. Playing at different fields has, you know, really made a difference. You know, different turfs, you kind of, as you were saying earlier, Tim, you know, some turfs you're slower on, some turfs you're faster on. I a kicker, John. Sometimes when the ball gets placed, it's a lot different. So, you know, that's kind of the difference. And this turf a little thicker. Guys might be feeling a little slower on it, but you know, it's also thin, so not totally sure how you can compare it to real grass. A little update from our score at the softball game. New Canaan leading 2-0 right now as we are back in play for the Rams. Delicata goes to center field, and Smosky will grab that one for the first out.
Talk about lefties. Delicata comes off a bit frustrated and kind of sums up the Rams' day at the plate here today. Plated that 1 run early. Since then, though, the bats have been quiet. A guy who can heat up the bats, really. I think once you get a hit, get this crowd into it. Alex Edergino, the senior, one of 3 on the team. 15 seniors on the Blue Wave, just 3 for the Rams. Edergino single through the left side, and they'll stop at first. But as I mentioned, getting on base so important, now getting the crowd back into it.
And this is a big spot for the Rams. Bottom of the 6th inning, Easterbrook has been cruising ever since that first inning. First out there, but they just got a 1-out single to get the tying run on base. See if they do something here with the heart of the lineup.
Edergino batting fourth, 4, 5, 6.
Oh.
Edergino goes early, and he gives himself up.
No idea what was going on there. He took off before Easterbrook even started his motion. Easterbrook was just about coming set, tried to catch him off guard, but that is a big mistake for the Rams. You cannot run into the second out like that.
First out of the inning is Edergino on a base running error. Hoffman still at the plate. Hoffman takes the first pitch high for a ball.
Yeah, and just like that, your tying run is now the batter up at the plate, no longer on first base, and bails Easterbrook out. You can go back to working from the windup.
Hoffman fouls one off way out of play to the right side. No balls, 2 strike, or 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Easterbrook actually working from the stretch, my bad there, but he can take his time and not have to worry now that there's no runner on base.
Second pitch in, 1 ball now, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Our apologies too for the count too as well. Some of the scoreboard's tough without the scoreboard here. Easterbrook again, too interesting to work from the stretch here with no one on right, Tim. I think that Easterbrook might just feel a bit more comfortable right now working from the stretch.
That seems
it
to be
simplifies things too as well.
Yeah, it seems to be his go-to. Some guys like working from the windup a little bit more. It's usually more of a reliever move to just pitch from the stretch, but there are still some starting pitchers that like to do that and prefer that. Simplifies the motion. Your shoulders already lined up, pointed towards your target.
2 balls, 2 strikes. You talked about importance of getting on. Edergino with a single through the left side, but a base running error for the first out of the inning. Important that Hoffman gets on, as time is definitely running out.
Yeah, Edergino stealing there and running into an out for the second out of the inning. Bailing them out of this.
My apologies, and that will do it here for the bottom of the 6th. There were 2 outs. Delicata flies out. Edergino gets caught on the base pass. Hoffman with the backwards K. Easterbrook wheeling and dealing here at Capo Field. We'll see you back here on NCTV and DAF Media Network for the 7th inning. We'll see if this one will require extras, but we'll see you in just a short couple moments. Back here on NCTV DAF Media Network. Thank you for joining us here at the brand new renovated Capo Field. First pitch and for a ball, second and for another ball as well. 2 balls, no strikes on number 24. New hitter for the Blue Wave, Colin Tomaszewski, the junior. Another lefty too as well. We talked a little bit about playing matchups, right? Tucker Tomaszewski in as a pinch hitter. Jocelyn still going strong on the mound for New Canaan. A new fresh arm going to warm up in the bullpen. Wes Gallo, the sophomore. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Tomaszewski fighting off a few pitches. Another foul ball by Tomaszewski. Tomaszewski doing a good job just hanging in there, right? Fouling off things, anything that's close to 2-strike approach. Jocelyn's off-speed pitch bumps Tomaszewski, giving Tomaszewski the free bag at first. Now putting a runner on base.
He can't do that. It's a second hit batter for Jocelyn with 2 strikes today.
8-9-1 for the Blue Wave. Now is the 9-hitter, Smosky. And a pinch runner will take the place of Tomaszewski, so Tomaszewski gets hit and will not run. Instead will be Luke Fox, the sophomore. One of 3 sophomores on this Darien team.
Yeah, Blue Wave usually carry a whole mirage of juniors and seniors, usually not too many underclassmen on the team.
Check over to first. Just making sure over there that Fox was alert and awake. Jocelyn's pitch, bunt laid down. Schulman playing in, throws it to Delicata. Able to get Smosky out. Smosky does his job, sacrifice bunt, moving Fox over to second, putting a runner in scoring position for the Blue Wave. And, you know, 1 run could be the difference in this game. The Rams down by 1 right now. Blue Wave on top, 2-1, top of the 7th.
Darien trying to get some insurance runs here, help out their pitchers next inning.
Elders fouls one off to the right side. Again, bonking off the house, the Waveney house. Jocelyn's delivery.
Oh, stole that base with
Rarely
ease.
see that. Stolen back without a throw on Hoffman. The speed of Fox, a killer.
That's a big one. Moves him right in. A sac fly could get the run in, stretching the lead to 2. Rams were caught sleeping there. Easily stole third base.
Now you gotta wonder what goes through Elder's head right inside the batter's box, you know. You start thinking more. He flies one out too. Hegel, see on the relay. Hegel throws in from center with a strong arm straight through. Double bounce, and he's out. The throw from Hegel, highlight play. Maybe that'll give the Rams some momentum. What a cannon from Hegel straight through to Hoffman, tagging out Fox. Fox, the guy who straight up stole third, not able to make it home on the ball in the outfield.
Yeah, I saw the boys warming up on that play, and, you know, Bennett Hegel just, you know, such a great player, and gets that ball back there, makes the catch, and then just throws it so hard in, and Hoffman's able to get the tag at third.
That's a tough play there. Hoffman, I think, was blocking the whole entire plate there. That's what head coach Darien, Mike Scott, is arguing. Seems like the runner was in on that one.
Yeah, interesting.
And a big play there by the defense of the Rams. Maybe an opportunity to build some offensive momentum after a defensive specialty play by Hegel. Easterbrook still in, trying to complete the complete game for the Rams. He's having a strong game on the ball for the Blue Wave. Really, the Blue Wave have come to expect nothing less.
Yeah, and the interesting thing in between innings, Blue Wave had Merritt Hole up again for the second time in the bullpen warming up. Wasn't sure if it was going to be Easterbrook's inning, try to complete game from him, but maybe if he gets into a little bit of trouble, they might bring in Hole from right field to close it out.
Yeah, we'll see what happens from here. You know, Easterbrook playing strong, and you know this Wave defense just in general has been playing really strong, and be able to see what the Rams can do here. Bottom of the 7th inning, big deal.
You know, interesting too to see like the decision to throw straight through after Fox had straight up stolen third. You know, trust kind of know your arms. Hegel able to throw in with a cannon. And, you know, the guy who threw out someone at home now up at the plate, an opportunity to get on base. 6, 7, 8 for the Rams. Hegel, DeAndrea Hickey. Hegel takes the first pitch for a ball.
Yeah, and if you're Easterbrook here, you're just trying to go out by out, try to keep the tying run off the base paths.
Easterbrook's second pitch in for a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike.
And it seems like the Rams' approach here is to take until a strike is thrown. Try to get your way on base any way you can.
2 balls, 1 strike. Of course, Tim, I think part of that goes to working counts too, right? Continue, take balls, you know, but also be ready to pounce on a ball that might be left a little bit over the middle. As, actually, funny enough, Adrian Delicata warming up in the bullpen for New Canaan. We'll see if this game were to go to extras, they would change pitchers.
Yeah, Delicata been battling with an arm injury recently, but, you know, just great athlete, able to be on the mound when the Rams need him as Hegel gets walked, and that's big for the Rams. Get a fast guy on there to start off the bottom of the 7th.
Big opportunity, tying run on second for the Rams, Benny Hegel. And maybe we start nicknaming him Benny and the Jets with his speed. You know, he's also a kick returner for the football team. A lot of football guys on this New Canaan team. Play both football and baseball. Now, see a quick mound visit by Darien by head coach Mike Scott.
Actually, the pitching coach, John Michelli, going out for a meeting here, just trying to give his pitcher a breather. Nobody's warming up in the pen.
Yeah, and you got to wonder, too, you know, what a conversation like this looks like. Of course, you know Easterbrook has, you know what Easterbrook's capable of. You know what to kind of expect, but kind of the decisions here. As you know, a pinch hitter in for New Canaan. Funny enough, it will be Jake Valente, normally playing right field. And he, you know, we mentioned he tweaked his hip in that game against Stanford. He's going to be batting. I think anyone finds something to play with when it's New Canaan, Darien. Easterbrook still on the bump. Hegel at first. Valente over, and Easterbrook checks. Make sure Hegel stays close.
And as the game has gone on, Easterbrook is starting to get a pretty quick pickoff move over there at first base.
Hegel with a manageable lead, able to get back in once again as Easterbrook checks. No outs in the inning. Valente at the plate, his first at-bat of the day. Valente batting 192 on the season with 5 hits. Takes a ball.
Interested to see if they put anyone in motion here, if they put a bunt on. Third baseman Campbell kind of up on the grass.
Pitch over inside. 2 balls, 1 strike.
Catcher.
Knee walking out to the mound, talk to Easterbrook. You know, maybe settle him down and You know, we've seen great command by Easterbrook, but these past 2 batters, we've seen a little bit, something's not clicking.
Yeah, fatigue starts to set in. He is in his 7th inning of work here. In the first inning, he did rack up the pitch count quite a bit. And now it's a pressure situation. Meetings here by the pitching coach and the catcher. Give him some time.
This New Canaan fan atmosphere definitely getting into it here late in the game. You know, it's definitely coming down to a close one, down 1. And, you know, you hear probably the biggest New Canaan Rams sports fan, Eddie Harrison, really getting involved and cheering the Rams on.
Easterbrook checks again, then throws strike 2 to Valente. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Hegel still on first. No outs in the inning. Delicata warming up in the pen. Once again, Easterbrook checks over. And this New Canaan, I guess we could call it student section, not liking that. Boos raining down here at the New Capo field.
Yeah, Easterbrook paying a lot of attention to the runner on first base.
Well, that is the tying run, right, Tim?
Bunts it foul, 2nd strike. Assume the bunt would be off here with 2 strikes.
Full count, 3 balls, 2 strikes. Easterbrook's best versus Valente's best. Bottom of the 7th, once again Easterbrook checking, and seems like Tucker, these boos just keep getting louder and louder every time he throws over.
Eddie Harrison really, you know, leading this Rams, as you said, sort of a student section. Eddie Harrison, I'm telling you, biggest sports fan in New Canaan, and just loves his New Canaan sports.
Runner.
Easterbrook throws pitches, foul ball over the right side.
Got a couple fans running for the ball there, and not sure if someone ended up catching it.
Count remains full. Good piece by Valente. Hegel was stealing too as well. Once again, Easterbrook checking Hegel.
Boo's still raining in. It's been a long at-bat, John.
Full count, about 5 different pickoff attempts here from Easterbrook. Here's the payoff pitch. Oh,
High. And now it's a full
Now
count.
it's full.
My apologies.
Sorry.
It's
So
so
many
difficult
pitches.
here. Our apologies. It's so difficult with the scoreboard, you know, in its location. Now full count. And Easterbrook's pitch up high. See the emphatic celebration by Valente. Runners on first and second. Bringing up the bat of Grant Hickey. Hickey with a single here today, the 8-hole hitter for the Rams.
Once again, you know, we got 3 football guys out here, and, you know, Jake Valente, great to see him get on base. We call him Hitch because, you know, that's probably his go-to round football, and Jake just such a great guy, and it's great to see him. That was a long fight, John, and just kept his composure and did a great job out there.
And I believe the Blue Wave will bring in Merritt Hull, and they will. Merritt Hull coming in from right field. This happened the first time these two teams played each other last year. Merritt Hull came in for relief of Easterbrook. It was a bit earlier in the game. Runners on first and second with no outs.
and that was a tough one there for Easterbrook. You've pitched so well so far this game, and back-to-back walks start off the inning. Now really helping you out there, and long at bat there, full count, about 5 different pickoff attempts, and just lost him there.
Hegel on second. Valente will be on first. But, you know, coming into a position like this, Tim and Tucker, you know, what are your approaches as a guy like Merritt Hull, you know, tying runner on second, winning runner on first, and, you know, the bottom of the New Canaan order up?
Yeah, you're going to have to throw strikes here. This is like your classic bunt situation, first and second, no outs. If he gives you the bunt, you got to take the out the best way that you can. Maybe try to throw a high fastball, try to get him to bunt it in the air. But Merritt Hull throws hard, so these New Canaan Ram batters are going to have to gear up a little bit.
Merritt Hull touched 90 in the offseason. Darien with 3 pitchers who touched 90. Easterbrook and Hull, both 2 of those 3. So, you know, Hull's going to bring A lot of gas on the bump, is going to rely on that fastball, but also with a trio of other pitches that he's got in his back pocket. You know, we talked a little bit about the softball score, the final score of that softball game after 7 innings. New Canaan winds up on top, 2-0, and that is your final from Darien High School. You can find the replay of that stream on DAF Media Network as well. Thank you for joining us here on NCTV DAF Media Network for boys baseball action on the brand new renovated Capo Field. If you're just tuning in too as well, you tune in to one of the most exciting parts of this game. Bottom of the 7th, no outs. Rams with runners on first and second. Darien just making the pitching change to Merritt Hull. Merritt Hull relieving Tyler Easterbrook, who really did have a really strong performance here today. Of course, you can't let, you know, the point at which he came out overshadow his day of work. You know, Tim, Easterbrook had a strong day of work here.
Yeah, and so far he's only allowed 1 run. The 2 runners on base are charged to Easterbrook. So he's hoping to just have it just be that 1 run so far and have his teammate Hull pick him up. But we'll see, is the waiver in a little bit of a jam here, and there's no outs so far in the bottom of the 7th.
The 8 and 9 hitters, both at the plate and on deck for the Rams. Hull, of course, getting the extended warm-up, especially since he did come in from right field, so didn't warm up in the bullpen like 2 New Canaan pitchers did, which are Wes Gallo and Adrian Delicata. And up to bat, Grant Hickey for the Rams.
If you're the Blue Wave here, you have to be expecting a bunt. Successful bunt would make it 2nd and 3rd with only 1 out, getting the tying and winning run into scoring position. Spellman and Campbell up on the grass for the Blue Wave.
And the way the lefties have been batting, I wouldn't be surprised if he tries to swing. And he does fake the bunt, or not fake the bunt, he attempts the bunt, misses the ball. The ball nicks the bat right to the glove of knee.
He goes for a bunt attempt again. You're going to see the first baseman Spellman crashing towards home plate.
Hickey again attempts the bunt. That pitch up and out of the zone now. 0-2 count. Hull with Hickey exactly where he wants him with no outs. New Canaan runners on second and first. Got to assume Hegel scores on a base hit. Hickey down 0-2 in the count. Hull's delivery, off-speed pitch, and he strikes out Hickey.
Yeah, and if you're the Blue Wave right now, that's big. First out of the inning. Bunt was unsuccessful in 2 attempts, and you're 1 double play ball away from getting out of this. Don't think the Rams are going to be bunting again here.
Now a hitting change for New Canaan. Again, another pinch hitter coming in, number 7, Luke Ungaro, batting 118 on the year, 2 hits, 4 RBIs. Quick meeting with Tisha, then sends him back to the box. 1 out, big first out by Merritt Hull, striking out Hickey. Saw, you know, rely on those quick fastballs, right? Get ahead in the count, then throw in some off-speed stuff with the big strikeout.
Yeah, and if you're the Blue Wave here, you're playing it out by out, but you're trying to keep those runners both there. If you can get that low double play ball, especially on this turf, the ball's going to be quick. You try to get that if you're the Blue Wave. If not, you get any out that you can, put the pressure on the Rams to beat you.
Blue Wave's entire infield crashing in quick to talk with Hull, maybe give him a bit of a confidence boost. Hegel Valente, quick chat near second as the umpire was writing down. Quick changes.
Yeah, and the infield's also letting Hull where he's going to go with it if he does get a ground ball back his way. When you're the pitcher, you're going to point to whoever you think is going to turn the double play with you. It's either the second baseman or the shortstop. So I think they were discussing that a little bit with Walton as well during that chat on the mound.
Full deals. That one inside on Ungaro.
He looks like he's establishing that first pitch fastball right away, bringing the heat.
Full sets. Steps off there, and Eagle returns back to second safely, and Valente stays as he's already in pretty close to first.
Trying to keep the runner there close on second, keep him from minimizing big lead.
Of course, because it is a righty too, it's going to be that second baseman near the bag, New Canaan Steve. Really paying no attention. Looked like he maybe could have attempted to throw at Hegel at third, instead elects to hold. Now runners in scoring positions. Both the winning run is on second, tying run at third on Garo. 2 strikes on him right now.
Now that moves the winning run to scoring position at second base and tying run at third.
1 out as well.
Blue Wave are having another mound meeting with pitching coach John Michelli, going over game plan here. So you never know what could happen. There's 1 out, and New Canaan could be tricky here. They go for a squeeze play, which would be laying down a bunt, and then the runner decides if he wants to run at third base.
So
Rams break, or sorry, the Blue Wave breaks their little meeting, and Hull and knee back to their positions as pitcher and catcher here. Obviously the Wave up 2-1 right now against the Rams, and 1 out. And Garo at the plate. That one low by Hull. Garo staying in it here.
Ball 4.
Garo gets on base. Base is loaded here for the Rams. Coming back to the top of the order, you got McAllister, the leadoff hitter, hitting for the Rams right now. Big opportunity for the junior.
Force at all bases too as well. So anywhere the ball is fielded in the infield, touch a base, you get an out, an opportunity for the top of the order, driving a run, maybe 2. 2 would win it. Bottom of the 7th here at Capo Field. Hull on the bump. McAllister in the batter's box. Hull's fastball at the knee, strike 1.
Looks like the Blue Wave are playing corners in. Maybe play at the plate there with the force in play. Middle infield is back. He has a double play. Could end this one for the Wave. Or it would end this one.
No balls, 1 strike, 1 out. Hull's off-speed pitch. Bit too far outside. 1 ball, 1 strike, and 1 out. Bases loaded. McAllister trying to be the hero. Should go down etched in New Canaan history.
That'll be quite the first win here at Capo Field, I'll tell you.
McAllister skies
deep.
1 to right field.
That'll get 1 in at least, you'd think.
Caught by Smosky. Hegel runs home. High throw, high of knee. Hegel scores.
Eagle getting excited over there. McAllister with the sac fly. That's what you want to do right now if you're the Rams. Tying this one up. 2 outs now, and you still got Valente on third, and you got Ungaro on second. Big opportunity still here for the Rams.
Talk about importance of tagging up. That's why you need to be aware on the base pass. You tag up to second and third. Now all it takes is a single coming down to Thomas Schulman.
That was quite a throw by Smosky, center fielder out there. Little high, though. You're taught as an outfielder to get the ball down, easier to block that. Hull with the good backup behind the plate.
First pitch in for a strike. You know, Hull has to be confident out there on the mound, confident in his pitches. Schulman, the 2-hitter for the Rams, all knotted at 2. Bottom of the 7th inning. Off-speed pitch outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Schulman takes a deep breath.
You have to be careful of your catcher, Jack Nee, tying run on third. Big backstop. Got to be a brick wall.
Hull's pitch Swung on by Schulman.
Tim, also you got to think there is actually a brick wall back there. You know, we saw earlier the way the ball bounced back, so that's also going to be difficult for him. He doesn't totally know how that wall bounces, and it'll be interesting if there is a wild pitch. Hole has to be really careful here.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Bottom of the 7th, 2 outs. Schulman puts one over, and it will be caught by Elders. New Canaan, the crowd holding their breath. Schulman's attempt unsuccessful. Now moving to extras. Top of the 8th. Jocelyn going back out to the bump. Of course, high school baseball, a runner does not start on second base, so you do earn that run. And this is what moments are made of. I know we're all excited here in the booth. Everyone excited to watch the finish between these two teams.
And I do think this is an interesting decision to send Jocelyn back out there for the 8th inning of work for him. Multiple different guys are warming up in the Rams bullpen, but it's still Jocelyn's game as of right now, and his team picked him up, tied the game up, going to the top of the 8th, and this will be the 2nd extra inning game for the Blue Wave in the last week. They ended up going 9 innings against Trumbull, as we mentioned earlier, and won that game at home. Now here they are on the road facing their rival, New Canaan Rams. Extra innings here at Capo Field, opening of Capo Field. What more can you ask for as a baseball fan? We're going to wear in this new field a little bit more today with at least 1 extra inning.
Taylor Campbell, the hero in that game against Trumbull, able to knock home the winning run. Praised as the hero, especially in a big win against the top team in the FCIAC like Trumbull. Here comes down to where you have to be aware, and Jocelyn is used to going deep in these games. He's an experienced player, although he is a junior. He was pitching freshman year, so he's got 3 years under his belt. This is his 3rd year. He's strong, he's ready, but also the Wave ready to try and spoil New Canaan's opening of Capo Field. Jocelyn's first pitch.
Jocelyn does still seem pretty confident out there, John. He's still throwing some heat, and definitely not fazed by pitching an 8th inning so far.
Devin Montesano digging in for the Blue Wave. No balls, 1 strike.
Montesano was put in that last half inning for defensive purposes at second base.
1 ball, 1 strike. Umpire says the pitch is a bit too low. 2 balls, 1 strike. No one on. Top of the 8th, an extra innings thriller. 4th pitch of the at-bat, able to put it in the zone past Montesano. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And Jocelyn strikes out Montesano. Pitch blew him right past him. You see the celebration afterwards. Right now, these outs just mean that much more. First out, big out for the Rams, bringing up the 3-hitter in Spellman, who's been playing at first, and a lefty.
Yeah, Jocelyn definitely feeling it right now. Just strikes out that batter, and that's top of the 8th. You don't really see pitchers going that long usually, and Jocelyn really just keeping his composure out there and coming and throwing the heat still.
Spellman fouls a ball off of the cages.
Probably got Jocelyn running on pure adrenaline here. Team came and picked him up last inning, and now he's in extras.
No balls, 2 strikes, putting second off-speed pitch in the zone.
He lays in a slider there, right in on Spellman. See what Jocelyn comes with here. 2-strike pitch.
Bit high. Of course, had pitches to give. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Dangerous part of Darien's order here. 2-3-4. Retired the 2-hitter. Now on to Spellman. That pitch grounded up the middle for a base hit. DeAndrea tried to slide, but even if he fields it, making that turn and throw to first on a speedy guy like Spellman, not probable. Runner on for the Blue Wave.
That one took an odd hop right off the mound there, right behind Jocelyn. Speeds up the middle on a turf field. Grass field that might have not gotten through, but neither of these two schools are playing on grass anymore.
Opportunity for the pitcher for the Wave to help himself out offensively. Merritt Hole digs in, takes the first pitch for a ball.
Strike.
Strike. No balls, 1 strike. Whole pitch,
Possibility of
Canaan
two
trying
here.
to turn 2. DeAndrea throws over to Delicata. Ball bounces off. Hole trying to take an extra.
Gets
The
it.
ball thrown in.
One looked like it hit him in the face there.
Yeah.
Rams getting out, but, you know, they still had another guy running to second, so Hole does get to second, but a runner still would have ended up there if they just went for 1, so not the end of the world there for the Rams.
Yeah, it was a wide throw there, missed by first baseman. Hole read that all the way, running hard, rounding first base, getting into scoring position with 2 outs here for the Wave. And here is the hero of last week's game, extra innings game, Campbell.
Campbell rips one out between the gap. Hegel with his speed not able to get there. Campbell at second. He'll plate 1, and he stays at second with the big run, plating another in extra innings.
Boy, was that a shot by Taylor Campbell. Probably the deepest hit ball of the day. Liner all the way out there in the right center field gap. No one can get that one. Waver up 3-2, regain the lead. 2 outs here, and they're still knocking on the door.
Now 3-2 in favor of the Wave. Campbell drives in 1. He's standing on second. Nee, the catcher, and trying to drive in another. Jocelyn's pitch in the turf, blocked by Hoffman.
I'm still surprised that Jocelyn is still in this game. Just surrendered, well, didn't surrender the lead, but now Blue Wave has the lead. He's pitching into the 8th inning. He's already pitched 7 2/3 so far.
2 outs in the top of the 8th.
And the new Canaan Rams bullpen over to our right. Silent, nobody home. This is Jocelyn's game.
Jocelyn still working for the Rams. Campbell at second. He digs in from the stretch. He flies one to right in the direction of Zwick. Zwick hauls it in. We move to the bottom of the 8th. Once again, Rams trailing by 1. Bottom of the 7th, Rams able to get back 1. They have to do it again if they want to stay in this game. Down by 1. Rams an opportunity. Top of the order up here. Not top, my apologies, but 3, 4, 5. Delicata, Edergino, and Hoffman. All 3 have a hit here today. Looking to do a bit of damage.
And on the Blue Wave side of things, still got Merritt Hole out there on the mound, hard throwing right-hander, committed to Lafayette in his senior year, looking to close out this game for the Blue Wave, starting with a fresh inning this time.
And a different, yeah, of course, as I was just going to say, right, Tim, now starting with no one on base, you know, it takes off definitely a weight of pressure. You don't have to worry about runners on, especially the situation he came in with no outs, runners on first and second.
Yeah,
So it has to feel much more comfortable.
it allows him to go into attack mode. You got a flamethrower on the mound coming in relief, been in right field the whole game, but with nobody on base, up by 1, you're trying to avoid allowing anyone on base. Attack, attack, attack. You're going to try to pitch first pitch strikes and fill up that strike zone.
Up for the Rams, as I mentioned, Adrian Delicata, Alex Edergino, and Maddox Hoffman. Adrian Delicata, one of the lefties for this Rams team, leads the teams in hits and RBIs. Now would be a big time for a hit. Finishing warm-ups too as well. Hole gets assurance from his infield. Cloud cover still heavy.
Nothing ever happened with that questionable lightning alarm we had. Not totally sure what that was, John.
No, that nothing seemed to come of that alarm. Bottom of the 8th. Extra innings here at the renovated Capo Field. Merritt Hole's first pitch inside, ball 1.
And renovation's a bit of an understatement. This used to be a much smaller grass and dirt field. Not too tall of a mound here.
Hole gets back even, 1 ball, 1 strike.
Definitely a big upgrade for the school and for their baseball program. This gorgeous Capo Field's going to be here for years to come.
Hole's pitch, strike 2. 1 ball, 2 strikes. This is a big game. We talked about it. 1 game separating 4th and 9th place, and both these teams really even right now. Darien 4-4 in the league. Delicata grounds 1 to Zawacki, who throws to Spellman. Now 1 out, ground out. That brings up Edergino, who singled last time but was thrown out at second.
Tristan McAllister warming up in the bullpen for the Rams right now.
You know, you've seen a bunch of arms warm up, and Jocelyn stayed out there. Edergino skies 1 to right. It's being called off, caught in the glove by number 8, Chase Dolan, the junior.
Just like that, 2 quick outs. Hole getting the ball back from his third baseman, Campbell, who just had the big go-ahead RBI double, giving him a fist bump, saying, "You got this, man. We just need 1 more."
1 more could be Maddox Hoffman. Hoffman, the sophomore, and now no one on bottom of the 8th. Blue Wave on top, 3-2. Hole's extremely comfortable. His pitch in the turf.
He's falling behind 2-0 here. 2 balls, no strikes. Take a breath, trying to get a strike here, trying to keep himself in this at-bat.
Hoffman, ground ball to third. Campbell over to Spellman. Spellman with the pick, and that ends it. The Blue Wave win this one 3-2. Take down the big rival in New Canaan. Spoil the opening of the renovated Capo Field. And that's a big, that win goes a long way in terms of standings, in terms of momentum. Just a day after falling to the Cardinals 6-5, the Blue Waves get back on the wave and pick up the victory over New Canaan.
I see what you did there. Yeah, both teams coming in today with a loss their last previous game. Blue Wave comes in here and spoils the opening of Capo Field. Nonetheless, good game, went to extra innings. Rally there by New Canaan and at the end. But Merritt Hole came in and closed out the game for the Blue Wave. Great pitching performances from Jocelyn, from Easterbrook, and from Hole for Darien. Really surprised Jocelyn went far into the game. Will definitely set up the Rams for their next upcoming game. But nonetheless, a great, great game between these 2 rivals. And the Blue Wave came on top 3-2 in extras.
And Tucker, before we go, do you have any closing thoughts about this game?
You know, it's just part of the rivalry. You know, New Canaan and Darien, it's always going to kind of be a game that's highly contested, and it'll always be close no matter what. And it, you know, unfortunately today for New Canaan, it didn't go their way. And you know, Darien played a great game, and definitely that extra inning hit by Taylor Campbell was something else. But you know, I don't think the Rams should be totally mad about this loss. They had some great hits, and even against 2 great pitchers. So, you know, I don't think it's definitely a loss-loss situation. You know, the loss goes on the scorecard, but you know, I think definitely some good things today.
Campbell, the hero in extras against Trumbull, the hero here again this afternoon against New Canaan. And before we go here on New Canaan on NCTV and DAF Media Network, I'd like to thank all who helped out in this production, our camera operators, Josh and Colin Finnerty, on graphics, Avery Jakovich, our producer, Charlie Place, our advisor, Roman Zabolski, DAF's advisor, Damian Andrew, and all who watched. Thank you guys for watching. And then the 2 guys to my right, Tim Bellingham, Tucker Stevens, myself, John Frieders. That'll do it. We'll send it to sponsors here on NCTV and DAF Media Network.
This game is sponsored by our NC Rams All Sports Booster Club Platinum and Gold sponsors. We would like to thank our Platinum sponsor, Quest Builders Group, a general contracting, construction management, and consulting company who proudly supports all of our high school athletes. We would like to thank our Platinum sponsor, Dr. William Fessler of Fessler Family Dentistry, the dental office for your entire family's dental needs. At William Fessler Family Dentistry, smile. You're in good hands. We thank Platinum sponsor Frangione Engineering. Planning on putting in a pool or an addition onto your house? Are you having drainage issues on your property? Frangione Engineering can help you find a solution. Platinum sponsors and NCHS alumni Leo and Steve Carl of Carl Chevrolet, who have been proud supporters of local athletic programs for generations. Their dealership has been serving Fairfield County since 1927. Their team is ready to assist with all of your automotive needs. We thank Platinum sponsor Manfredi Jewels. Manfredi Jewels, your local official Rolex jeweler, is excited to continue carrying the finest jewelry and watch brands, and welcome the New Canaan community into their newly renovated store this fall. Go Rams! Platinum sponsor Renaissance Partners, a family-owned and New Canaan-based residential building and remodeling company serving all of Fairfield County. We thank Platinum sponsor Walter Stewart's. Walter Stewart's Market has supported NC Rams athletics and the entire New Canaan community for years. Walter Stewart's is your fresh local market. We also thank our Platinum sponsor Hoyt Livery for 30 plus years of service. We would like to thank our Gold sponsor Anderson Kenny Architecture, a full-service practice that encompasses a range of commissioned residential and commercial projects. Each project is a thoughtful collaboration tailored for clients and their needs. The outcome is highly personal, constructed with intention and integrity. We thank another Gold sponsor, Club Sandwich, a family-owned deli right here in town serving the New Canaan community since 1986. They are a proud sponsor of the New Canaan community and all of our sports teams. And we thank NC Graphics LLC, a Gold sponsor who is a constant supporter of the NCHS Booster Club. They are a custom graphics company located right here in New Canaan for all of your logo designing needs. Again, a big thank you to all of our sponsors. The NC Rams All Sports Booster Club supports all New Canaan High School athletics. Go Rams!